for OG to escalate the definition of social justice to the most extreme, and let's say this is a legitimate excuse for violence, but we don't really care whether it works or not, is asking us as all, in a debate, to defend that someone shouldn't have the right to resist imminent rape or violence. I don't care what the format is, in the spirit of debate, it's not fair. But let me just point out one other thing that's done wrong in Siraj's speech. He says, and I quote, how will you address their needs? He spends half a substantive speech on how this is going to work. Joey, in his opening, said that we don't really care about the feasibility of this, whether it will work or not. So either you care about feasibility or you don't. There's a serious tension running through the piece. I'm really sorry for Valerie and Kelvin. We have to pick up after them because this is going to hurt the government very much. I've got 3 main points of extension, which I'm sorry to call, number 1, what are legitimate conditions to set in a debate? Number 2, what should feasibility be a condition in a debate and how it's going to work? And number 3, how do we help non-democratic states get better? The real extension, the rest of them are just neatening it so every one of us can have a reasonable argument going forward. Right, first argument, conditions and why they should be reasonable. Here's the thing. The argument they say is that social injustice of a sufficiently grave outcome should justify political violence. This is kind of strange because we provide no moral argument as to what this sufficient degree is. Here's the problem with that. Every person in a society will have different definitions of what this sufficiently great degree is. We think the best political arbiter and the only way to epistemically access what a sufficiently great degree is through, guess what? The political process. The interlocutor that aggregates everyone else's decisions on what is an acceptable level of justice in society. At that point, you legitimize this. Any yahoo with a gun who thinks state oppressed him can go out and shoot other people. That is your moral calculus. Quite horrible. Furthermore, as stealing an extension from CO preemptively, we put it to you that not everyone in the state is of the same moral culpability. There are people in the organs of the state, in the higher-ups, who are more morally evil than those who are henchmen or forced to do the same damn things. By promotionalizing the definition of the state into this inchoate monolithic hole where you cannot separate people while pulling the strings from those who are innocent actors, you have diminished the moral calculus. Shame on you. Third response, if your argument is harm prevention, and that's in Joey's speech, the logic is, why not nip the harm at the root? Because you say, from all the rights of social equality, everything else flows. That means, taken to extreme, the moral imperative is to stop the harm when it first starts. You're setting the sufficiently great criteria is in fact a cop-out if you want to use a moral argument at the point of instance. No, we don't think so. So we do think the conditions of sufficiently great are very vague and can only be defined properly through the political process you want to shoot down. No. The second argument I have is feasibility and why it should be considered in any reasonable debate. Here's the thing. They never really dealt with Ashish's example that even in the very worst case, if you are about to be raped or killed imminently, you don't take some other human shield as your defense. We think it's immoral to instrumentalize someone to say completely third party innocent to the point. Here's the point. You assume that other people oppress you. But even so, furthermore, when you destroy infrastructure, you hurt innocent villagers, not the dictatorship who's probably doing more of the oppressing. We don't think 2 moral wrongs make a right when these people are not instrumentalized against you in return. This is how those people you hurt get the right to do violence on you as a whole. How does the cycle of violence help anybody, Valerie, Billy, and Methodist?
When a person is being raped, you also have the alternative of just suing this person later on and lobbying against these rapists, right? But how come under your model you think that the presence of alternatives delegitimizes a certain method?
Val, here's the thing. Your point of information talks about how we have a process to deal with things in the due argument. Your anti-contextualization says we should drag whatever means we have available because we don't care about feasibility on their side to do something about the situation. They are completely 2 different things. We alternatively think that if you are able to check this harm, there must be social buy-in. Here's the thing. The reason the state is constructed and laws are constructed is because people tend to adhere to them. They attract moral buy-in. There is value in having laws and legal systems in place. The moment you destroy one of it, everything else goes down the drain. All duties to each other go out the window. That's why you have a continuing cycle of violence which will necessitate your situation again and again and again and again. I don't believe that kind of cycle of violence is helpful in any case. Furthermore, and this is the moving on to more extending material, the reality of these violent movements, like bringing down to reality, is that they are hardly politically neutral. Most militias, Mr. Speaker, tend to have a hierarchy in them where even the top of the militia, by using an apolitical process, often press gangs people into their service and forces them as unwilling moral actors against the state. Examples, the Taliban, the FARC, the LTTE. All these people claim to be fighting against social injustice, but yet committed the injustice themselves because they had lacked the political narrative and the political process through which to adjudicate competing moral claims. And at the point Big C in Siraj's speech, passivity is immoral. Mr. Speaker, this precisely breaks the collective voice of reason and dialogue within these groups. At the point where everyone's told you're either with us or against us, you fight against it or die trying, this removes any chance for a third party, warmly negotiated solution, and leaves everyone to be labeled as terrorists. Which leads me nicely on to my third point of extension, that of how do we help these non-democratic, worst-case, isolated example scenarios that OJ seems to think are the main cause of debate. Mr. Speaker, even though we do think social injustice is wrong and maybe active intervention into non-democratic states is needed, we don't believe we should hurt the political capital in 5 main avenues. One, Mr. Speaker, at the point you commit the same acts yourself and become labeled as a terrorist group, we think you hurt international backers like the World Bank, like the IMF, like G8, like all these agencies which are willing to help fund these people will not fund someone on the terrorist watch list of the US Security Department. Secondly, we also think you hurt investment in the country. Why does this matter? Because at that point, countries will recover, need this investment money to go up and to correct social injustice. You just damn them to a life of poverty where everyone may be equal but equally poorly off. Third reason, Mr. Speaker, to polarize people who are indifferent initially to hate you. It's very easy to use the label of the word terrorist to cover over and paper over the cracks of what may be a legitimate movement initially, but now it's tainted the harm that they are doing to women. Fourthly, we also further think that there are successful track records of peaceful intervention in the status quo. Look at Martin Luther King versus Malcolm X. Once violent movements were discredited. Look at in India, Mahatma Gandhi versus Subhash Chandra Bose was wiped out of history because he killed innocent Indian people in Chandigarh. We don't think that's valid. Fifthly, Mr. Speaker, at the point where you attract bad press, you are likely to use the nature of terrorism to allow people to ignore legitimate grievances. The UN Security Council, China and Russia are very likely to veto any action to a country. Mubarak is likely to paint you as an internal security threat, and now you will be an internal security threat, which means even your last resort of all these people is completely cut off. Because we give you a reasonable debate, and even in the worst case scenarios, we show you there is no benefit whatsoever, we are very, very proud to oppose.